Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining our onX office hours for April. We'll give it just a couple of minutes to let everybody get settled in and get logged in and everything. So while we're waiting, just a couple of housekeeping items. This is just a free form kind of question and answer session. So I don't have any agenda or any presentation. It's just going to be kind of dependent on the questions that you folks submit. So please drop them in the Q&A box that should be down along the bottom of your screen there. There's also a chat box down there. That one's just a little bit more difficult for me to look through and to answer questions. Chat is good for just dropping in, saying, who you are, where you're from. Q&A is the best spot to get a question answered. This class is being recorded, so if you have to drop off early or you want to go back and watch a part of it or watch the whole thing, we'll send you an email tomorrow. It'll come about this time tomorrow with the link to the YouTube video where the recording will live. You can go back and watch that as many times as you want. If you have any questions pertaining to your account, I just don't have the ability to really dig into accounts to look up passwords, billing information, anything like that. Those are best sent to help@onxmaps.com. That's our customer service email. So shoot those there and our customer support team will be able to help you out. And finally, we are doing a giveaway at the end of the class. So with about 10 minutes or so left at the end, we will give away a handful of t-shirts. So you do have to be present to enter that, and then we'll get those winners chosen this afternoon and get those sent out. My name's Jack Hedlund. I'll be kind of leading the show here today. Work on the onX Hunt marketing team. Been here almost 6 years now. And so been around, seen a few things, so hopefully I can answer all of your questions. I'm also joined, I see Jeff just joined us here for, well, Jeff, I suppose this will be your last Masterclass before you delightfully retire. You are muted right now still.
Yes. So my name is Jeff Armentrout. I am a product manager here at onX. Been on the Hunt team for about 3.5 years. Work with the engineering teams and define new features and get stuff built for all of y'all. So
awesome. Well, I see we've got a few questions in there, so let's dive in. First one, John said, getting more updates on the app, property owners who sold recently. So I believe he's getting at, maybe some property ownership is out of date in his area. I'm going to share my screen here real quick, John. We'll actually go through how you can report those errors to our mapping team. Just give me one moment here. We do update property ownership. We try to update about as often as your local county does. So some counties update once a year, some will do it monthly. A state like Montana, I think, does it even more often than that. So, if something's sold within the past couple weeks or months, it might take us a bit of time to get that new data in there. But let's run through how to submit an error. So I'm showing you the onX web map right now. You can also do this on the mobile version on a phone or tablet. But let's just pick, let's pick the onX office here in Missoula. I'm going to click on that. It's going to bring up this query card that tells you land ownership information. And let's say that this is incorrect. If I go down to the bottom of my menu here, I'm going to click this button that says see more, and then click the button that says report an error. Then it's going to take you through providing us with the information we need to get that error corrected. So you'd click it's private land. Let's say it's just the landowner name has changed, no boundary lines have changed. And then if you know the land ownership, the correct landowner, you type that in there, hit the submit button. The more information you can provide us with, the better. And then that will help us to reach out to the county or your tax assessor's office is typically where we get that data. We always verify them. We make sure, yep, that's what they're showing as the owner as well. And then we'll work to get that updated. So that's the best way. If you've noticed something's changed and we don't have it updated yet, report that error, and then our mapping team will follow up on that. Bert asked, how do I see property boundaries and names of owners? So Bert, that is going to be in your layers. So if you're looking at this on a mobile device, the layers menu is in the lower left-hand corner. On a computer, it's up here, kind of in the top left. Click Hunt Map Layers, and then you're going to want to make sure that you have the state you're looking in turned on. So if you have an elite membership, for instance, you have all 50 states plus Canada. If you have a premium membership, you have either 1 or 2 states that you can turn on. So since I'm in Montana, the layers you're going to want to be turning on are the private lands and government lands. So you specifically said property boundaries, names of owners. So we'll look at the private lands layer. If I turn that off, you can see how my map changes there. You see those boundary lines will disappear and the ownership information will disappear. So if you have a current membership, you're all, paid up and active and everything, and you're not seeing that information in your state, double check that you've got the layer turned on, and then you should be good to go. If for whatever reason you're not seeing property boundaries, not able to get that layer turned on or something like that, there may be something going on with your account. Send us an email, help@onxmaps.com. Our customer support team will get that corrected for you. Another question from John. He just said, getting phone numbers on the apps. So that's something we have kind of discussed at various points, at least in my tenure here. We don't include phone numbers in the app right now, largely out of kind of respect for landowners, just so that they're not getting inundated with, hundreds of phone calls during hunting season. I know I've spoken with some ranchers here in Montana who will say during elk season, around our general firearms opener in late October, when they have, they might have an elk herd that's wintering in their alfalfa or down in their fields, and they will get dozens and dozens of phone calls a day, to the point where they almost, disconnect their phone for a while, just because they're working in the fields, they're trying to do their job. They just don't have the time to take all of those phone calls, and you can imagine they certainly probably don't want to have 30, 40, 50 different people hunting their property. So right now we don't have phone numbers in there. You do have the landowner name, or, in the case of like an LLC or a partnership or something, you have that information. You also have a tax address. So a lot of people will use that tax address to write a letter, especially this time of year. If you're looking for fall hunting permission for deer season or duck season or something, this is a great time to send those letters out and start seeking permission. The day before hunting season, as you can imagine, you're not going to likely have as much success. So that would be my advice. You can also, go to the white pages, the good old fashioned phone book. Those are still out there, and try to track down a phone number that way.
Yeah, James asks, and this is probably a good time to bring this up, especially with the screen that you have up there now. Can I use my laptop to see information that I mark out in the field? And then can I mark stuff on my laptop and have it show up while I'm out in the field? And the answer is yes. So from Jack's web interface, laptop interface that you see right now, everything under the My Content button that you see over there in the nav on the left um, is shared and synchronized across any onX device that you have today. So on your mobile device, you'll be, whether you're iOS or Android, all that content, if you place it here on the web, is going to show up on your mobile. Anything you place on your mobile is going to show up on the web. Obviously, if you're offline when you're out in the field and you don't have coverage, you're going to have to wait when you get back into coverage for that information to synchronize. That usually takes less than 5 minutes. So all that information is there. You'll also see on Jack's screen, he's got an offline maps navigation on the left. You can define offline maps on your laptop, and then those will also sync to your mobile. So you'll be able to go to your mobile device. Those maps that you see here that Jack's defined will show up on your mobile device, and you just tap the download button, and you can then get all of those same offline maps on your mobile as well. So, and this message is giving you some information on how to do that. So,
Yeah, and
good question. Good
that's
question.
super handy. The offline maps, I used that when I drew my last pronghorn tag here in Montana. It was a multi-unit tag, so I could hunt thousands of square miles. And so it was a little tough to save all. I wanted a medium resolution map for the whole area because I didn't know, pronghorn hunting a lot of times is a lot of windshield time. So I went on my laptop on the web map here and defined all of those boundaries. It was just a lot faster to do it on this interface than on my mobile, and then went over to my phone, and then it was just click through all those maps to download them. So if you're saving a bunch, or even if you're just saving one, you're doing your e-scouting, you can go ahead and define that boundary there and then download it onto your mobile device and be good to go.
Jason asked about the accuracy of the blue dot information on the map. So when you're on your mobile, you'll notice a blue dot. Um, and we get that location data from either the operating system iOS if you're on an Apple device, or from Android if you're on a Google device. Your GPS receiver in your phone will run even if your phone is offline. So this is why onX will continue to work, or any mapping application for that matter, will continue to work even when you don't have a cellular or a Wi-Fi signal. As far as how accurate it is, your phone does not have as robust a GPS receiver as you would find in some of the older GPS devices with a dedicated GPS antenna and things like that. And so trees, valleys, if you've ever tried to like navigate in a city with a lot of big tall buildings using Google Maps or Apple Maps, you'll notice sometimes it thinks you're on the other side of the street than you are, crazy things like that. And so it is not perfect. Um, if you were in the military, you had access to way more accurate GPS data than is available to consumers, folks like us. But you will typically see that blue dot within a couple meters of your location. If you have a clear sky and and a good line of sight to a bunch of satellites, it's pretty good. Um, but the more things that get in the way, the less accurate it is going to be. So that's just an implication of the mobile devices. So, if you're trying to use it to map out a property line within 6 inches, or surveyor accuracy, it is not that. But if you want to get within uh, a couple meters of a tree where you have a tree stand, should work should work great. So hopefully that answers that. Jason, type in you can uh, anybody can obviously add to your question if we don't fully address it. So
Let's get to, while I have this pulled up, Patrick's question here about entering coordinates into onX. So that's a question we get fairly often is, hey, I have a set of coordinates from some other program or from something else. I want to be able to mark a waypoint on that spot. You can do this on both mobile and web. I'm going to demonstrate on the mobile app here. In the upper right-hand corner, if you go all the way to the top, right below my battery level indicator, and right above that button that says weather, if you can see it on your end, there's a little button that looks like, or a little icon that looks like a magnifying glass. So I'm going to tap on that. That is for my mouse that I have for this tablet. So we're going to open that up. There we go. So this is the search bar. You can search for, landowner names. You can search for landmarks. You could search for national parks and cities and things like that. But if you want to search for coordinates, you can, if you have the coordinates, somebody texted them to you, you can copy and paste them in here. I don't have an example of that right now, so I'm just going to type in some coordinates here. And you're going to want to do this typically in decimal, works best. So if you have those in decimal format, great. Your first number is going to be a positive number. Your second one is going to be negative. So you have to have that dash before it, otherwise you're going to end up on the other side of the world. And then I'm just going to type in and do a few decimal places. You don't have to put any decimals, but the more you do, the more digits you put in there, the more accurate it's going to be. And then hit search, and then tap on that first option. And then my map moves to those coordinates, and it pulls up the query card of that area. If I want to, I can, along the bottom of my map screen there, I can tap add waypoint. And then that is going to, it's kind of tough to see because the icon is hiding it, but that's going to put a waypoint there. And then now you see I've got that spot marked. So that's kind of the quick way of how you search for coordinates and enter them in there and mark a waypoint if you'd like to on that spot. Let's see here. Jeff, I saw you marked Jason's question here about hiding waypoints and stuff. Did you want to get into that one?
Yeah, you're the expert in Zoom. How do I get back to the question? Now I can't see it in my
Do
Q&A.
you have the Q&A box?
I do.
If you click on that, it should bring it up. Otherwise, I can read it off as well.
Oh, it's up here. Never mind. Um, when you open your app, every layer and point you place on the desktop, but if hidden, will show up on the app. Um, have to go in and hide all these features. Is there a way to hide this automatically? So, Jason, you've asked a question that we've debated numerous times internally. So, should we preserve settings, things like hiding or showing either layers or markups, waypoints, and whatnot across desktop and mobile? And we have debated this back and forth. Currently, we do not, although the content is shared across them, as I explained earlier, we do not preserve the settings for hiding and showing waypoints or hiding and showing, enabling layers between desktop and mobile. And one of the reasons we do that is that uh, this is sort of the logic we have used is that when you're sitting on your computer scouting, you're likely going to want to see different information on your map than when you're out in the field and you have boots on the ground and you're actively moving around and engaging with the content in the app. And so we've chosen to keep these two things separate for now and allow you to customize each for the specific application that you have. So we don't have a way right now to synchronize and make sure that the exact same stuff shows up on mobile and web in terms of hiding and showing content. So that's just a way we've chosen to do it. Obviously, everybody works a little bit differently. Obviously, you're working a little bit differently than we've set up. Sorry about that, but that's what we have for today. So
There's a quick question here John asked on the different options, the different membership levels. So he asked, oh, it just went away on me. There it is. What's the difference between the options? You can buy just the states, or is there more? So there is more to it than just the amount of states that you get. So we have kind of three paid membership levels right now. We've got the premium one state. Like it sounds, you get access to your private property boundaries, your government lands, your layers for one state. There's a two-state premium, which gets you two states. And then there's the elite, and that's really where you start getting into more features. So with elite, you have access to all 50 states plus Canada, but there are also some elite specific tools and elite deals that you get. Let me pull this up quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So I got my web map pulled up. If you're an elite member, you'll see these options available to you, the elite tools. So big right now, we're in the midst of Western tag application season. So we have our hunt research tools. So that is going to be give you the draw odds for if I want to draw. I think today or tomorrow is the deadline for Montana moose, sheep, and goat. So you can plug in how many points you have, and it'll tell you, based on last year's data, because nobody knows exactly how 2024 is going to go out, how that's going to go. Based on last year's data, these are your odds in all the different areas for a moose tag, a sheep tag, elk, deer, all that. I mean, it has passed in Montana already, but in the other various states that are still upcoming. You also have access to TerrainX, which I can just click into here real quick. This is still kind of in beta testing mode. So you're going to see the interface is a little bit different here. But TerrainX is really your next level scouting tool. So you can have it show you if you only want to look for certain elevation bands. As I move this slider up, you see the map gets darker because it's only showing me stuff above 6,300 feet. I can have it, if I zoom in, makes it a little bit easier to see, have it only show me certain slope aspects. So if I only want to see south-facing slopes or north-facing slopes, I can have it do that. I can have it only show me certain degrees of slope angle if I'm looking for something that's less than 20 degrees, for example, because we know elk don't like to bed on super steep slopes. You can do that. And what I think is my favorite feature is this view shed feature. So if I zoom in here, this is down in the Bitterroots. What the view shed shows you is what you can see based on topography from any given point. So if I was standing on that point, the areas of the map that are kind of grayed or blacked out, I'm not able to see. This doesn't take into account vegetation, so you might have trees in your way that are blocking your view, but at least it does give you a sense of, hey, if I want to go hunt this area and I want to be able to glass for bears or glass for mule deer, am I going to be able to glass the country I want from a certain point, depending where I'm sitting? So that's, again, one of the other things you get with Elite. You also get some of our Elite exclusive deals. So we've partnered with companies like Huntin' Fool and Hunt Reminder to give you free services. You also have discounts on a lot of the gear that we use, from upland hunting vests to boots to dehydrated meals, tree stands, all that good stuff. So that's kind of what you get when you go to Elite. I said that was going to be a quick question, and then I think I took about 5 minutes on it. So a lot of good stuff in there.
Well, yeah, and Jack, if you click on the imagery button on the bottom right, there's a couple other things that will come with Elite as well. You'll get access to our leaf off imagery feature. You'll also get access to what we call recent imagery, which is a lower resolution but more frequently updated set of maps. So we update these maps every 2 weeks. We have about a little bit more than a year's worth of data in there now. And so you can go in and look at imagery that is only a couple weeks old, and see, scroll through the dates, look at what you want. So those are also available with our Elite membership. So,
And I've been using that recent imagery quite a bit bear hunting right now, just checking the snow levels, saving myself some gas money so that I don't drive out somewhere and realize, oh, there's still, a foot of snow on this north facing road I was going to drive in on. So
yep.
pretty sweet.
Eric asks about using survey coordinates to plot property boundaries. I know that you can draw an area shape with your property boundaries. I don't think we have a way to use the actual coordinates of a survey to enter those boundary numbers. So, Eric, I don't believe that's possible today. But you'll see in the bottom right corner of the map, if you're on the web, which is where Jack is now, the coordinates are updating as you move the cursor around. So if you had specific coordinates, you could use that to maybe draw them out, but that would be a little bit time consuming and probably not the most efficient way to do it. But right now, we don't have a way to do that. Sorry. James asks about tutorials and all the different things you can do in onX. Maybe, Jack, this would be a good time to highlight our YouTube content.
Yeah, so our YouTube channel, if you just go to YouTube and search for onX Hunt, we have a lot of different tutorials in there. Some of them are just short, couple minute videos that you can view. We also have, if you go to our playlists, that's where all of our master classes live. So we've been doing master classes for, this is about the 2 year mark now. So we've
Yep.
got probably over 100 different master classes we've done. Some of them are previous office hours like this. Some of them are our 101 classes that we do every month. And that would be one recommendation I would have is try to attend a 101. That is about a 90-minute, like it sounds, a basic introduction to the features of the onX Hunt app that we feel you need to know to be able to go out into the field and be proficient. So we don't get into everything in the app. That would take probably another hour and a half, if not more. So it's your basics on using waypoints and using the tracker, saving offline maps, turning on layers, changing the base maps, things like that. And our website is another good one. If you go to onxmaps.com, our help center there that is kind of run by our customer support team largely. They have a lot of frequently asked questions and tutorials there. And another plug for customer support, if there's something's just not making sense or you just want to talk to a person, have somebody talk you through it, you can give them a call or shoot them an email and they'll take care of you. And they're very responsive. Their goal is to answer every question, every email that comes in within 24 business hours. So if you email them, 7 o'clock at night, you can expect an answer the next day, as long as it's during the week. We do have email support on the weekends. It's a little bit limited, so it may take a bit longer, but Monday through Friday, you'll get an answer the next day.
And they're all very good. All of them are hunters. Like you, uh, some people call up and just chat. And
Yeah.
so we have all kinds of stuff. So they're very good. If you have any question, they're a great resource to use. A good plug for our customer support folks. Michael asks about my hunt areas. As a convert to onX recently, thank you, by the way, Michael. We appreciate that. Hunt areas, it's not a combo of waypoints and layers. It's more a combo of waypoints and properties. And so you and this is a fairly new feature that we are just rolling out. We recognize that once you get east of the Rockies, I think that the number is east of the Rockies, there's about 11% of the land is public land, which is an unfortunate thing, but that's just what the way it is. So most people east of the Rockies are hunting on private land. What My Hunt Areas is allowing you to do is define those pieces of land, and then it will aggregate the content that you have within those properties in terms of waypoints, lines, tracks, whatever content you have saved in that area, and then that shows up under the My Content screen. So that's fairly new. I'm not sure that's rolled out to all customers yet, but yeah, it's um, it's something that we're continuing to work on. So
So I'm just running through a quick demo here while Jeff was talking, if you're following along. I clicked on a property. I hit the button that said add to folder. I'm gonna make a new folder for this. It is a bit confusing at first. Once you do it, it starts to make sense. So I just picked a random property here. Never been there, it's not mine. But for demonstration purposes, now you see I've made a folder, titled it My Property. This is my hunt area. It's highlighted. So let's say I was adding a bunch of tree stands or duck blinds or something, and I added a bunch of waypoints. Now I can have them all kind of live in one place. So once I add things here that are within that property, they'll all show up here. So super handy if you've got a hunt club or something, you want to keep track of all of your waypoints. They're all in one spot there.
you can enter you can enter notes on this card, so you can if you're asking for permission or you have permission or you need to remember a combo for a lock on a gate or like whatever you need to remember for that specific piece of property. You can also do that. I believe, Jack, under the three dots at the bottom, uh, Yeah, that okay. So you just have your folder. So you can also share this with your buddies if you want. Um, and they will see all the stuff that you will see here. And so this is a pretty handy way if you have like a lease, like Jack said, or something, you can share this across your friends, or keep it secret, whichever. Um, Scott asks about the best practices in terms of running offline maps in order to save battery life. Typically, just gone into airplane mode, keep phone battery usage to a bare minimum. That's actually a good idea with your phone, regardless of onX or not. If you're in an area that does not have service and you leave your cellular and Wi-Fi turned on, in other words, you do not go into airplane mode, your phone is going to use more battery because it's going to constantly be trying to find a signal, and its receiver is going to be turned on, and it's going to be consuming a lot more battery than it should. Now, most phones will, after they search for a while, if they don't find a signal, they will stop searching, but they have a timer is set, and then every so often they will turn their receiver back on and start searching again. So it's this constant process of on and off and on and off with your receiver and your phone. And so, Scott, you have the exact right strategy. If you're out of coverage, set your phone to airplane mode, and of course, use onX offline. You have your offline map saved. All your content is already there. You can add content while you're offline. It'll all sync up as soon as you go back online. So everything will work. Um, and you have the exact right idea. So let's see. What else do we have? Um, Casey, I confess I don't know the answer to this one, Jack.
Yeah, and I don't either. Casey was asking about the format for coordinates. Is it dd.mmmm or dd.mmss? And yeah, that's something I don't know offhand. That's something we could probably figure out, but would have to do some asking around with the proper folks here. So apologies there, Casey. Not able to answer that one for you right now.
Glenn, the detail on my laptop is nothing like it is on my iPhone. iPhone is much more detailed, but I want to scout on my laptop. Um, it shouldn't matter whether your laptop is Apple or Windows, doesn't matter, shouldn't matter. Chrome works great, Safari works great. A number of different browsers work good. I'm not sure what could be going on this one, Glenn. This might be a good time to reach out to our customer service folks that we highlighted earlier, because that should not be the case. Um, I don't know, Jack, do you have any better ideas on that one?
You could maybe check, Glenn, if you do have one of these other imagery options turned on. If you have recent imagery turned on, that is less detailed.
Hmm?
So, that we just went through earlier, it's updated more frequently, but it's less detailed. Double check that that's not turned on. Otherwise, I think the best is if you can send us a screenshot of what you're seeing on your end so that we can see it, send that to our customer support team. They'll be able to tell in relatively short order, what's going on, whether it is maybe a sneaky layer that you have turned on. That happens from time to time where something gets turned on and we don't realize it. And it would be a matter of turning that off. Otherwise, double check those imagery options and see if you have any of those turned on.
Yeah. And Eric asks, does onX work with Google Maps in allowing me to save data that can be downloaded into my onX subscription? Well, yes and no. We don't work with Google Maps, but from Google Maps, if you add content, waypoints, whatever you add, you can export. And then from that file that you export, you can import that into onX. We don't have like a direct interface to Google Maps, but you can move content back and forth by importing and exporting, which onX also allows exporting as well. And so if you want to take the time to do it, you can export and move back and forth between both of those. But yeah, we will work with Google Maps, but in a bit of an indirect way through an import and export. So,
Here's a question I saw from Clarence talking about what is the best practice to marking a waypoint on mobile? So I'm going to get that pulled up here quick. Give me a moment while Zoom connects. And we'll talk about, there's a few different ways, Clarence, that you can mark a waypoint on mobile. So there's no, it's largely personal preference, but if I zoom in, that's the first thing I would do is zoom in as close as you can to the ground so that you can be more precise. If you go into your map settings, that's in this hamburger menu in the top left corner. You can go into settings, and this one here kind of in the middle that says show crosshairs, that can be helpful. That's going to put a crosshair in the middle of your screen like you can see on mine. If you want, one way to mark a waypoint is just to do what's called a long press or a long hold. Tap on the map and hold your finger there for it's like a second and a half or 2 seconds. That's going to place the waypoint on the map. And in this kind of edit mode here, I can still move that waypoint around. You can't see it on your end, but I'm just tapping on my map. And you can do this for an old waypoint. If you had one that you have saved previously that you'd like to change a little bit, you can go in, you can tap on the waypoint, hit the edit button, and you'll be brought to a screen like this. And then you can just tap on the map to move it to where you'd like. That's my recommendation. The other thing you can do is I have my crosshair here. I can line it up. Let's say I want to put it at the center of this roundabout, put the crosshair there, go into tools, add waypoint, and it's going to put it there. And again, I can still move it around if I want to get it just right. Then hit save. So hope that answered your question there.
yeah. So Vicky asked, where do I find Elite Tools in onX on my iPhone? I don't see it. Now, right now, what you'll find on your iPhone is really the Elite deals that we have. To see the imagery options that we showed earlier on the web, you can obviously click on the same imagery button that we clicked on the web. So you would see leaf off and recent imagery under there. The Elite features, the TerrainX and the Hunt research tools that are also available to Elite members now are available only on the web. The research tools runs in a browser, so it will pull up on your mobile as well. But TerrainX right now only runs on the desktop, so it's not set up quite as well as we have it on the web, Vicky. But you should be able to still find all those things. They're just separated a little bit. I have been working with the engineering folks, and we are adding a new Elite Access link in that hamburger menu on your iPhone, and that's going to go live here shortly. So keep an eye out for that, and that should help it should help give you access to all those things in a much clearer way. So apologize for the confusion right now, but we are actively in the process of fixing that. So should be good there.
Here's one that stands out. I was just talking with somebody about this weekend. Rex asked, is there a way to determine all the features I have turned on in my display? Sometimes the screen is different color and I can't tell which layer it is that caused the color change. So maybe not in like the way you're describing there, Rex. We don't have kind of like a heads up display that tells you everything that's turned on. But what you can do, first thing I would do is I'm gonna go in the lower left-hand corner here, tap on Hunt Map Layers. That's gonna pull up my layer menu. So you see all my different folders there, Montana, current conditions, land and access. That tells me how many layers I have turned on. So in Montana, I have 5 of 8, current conditions 1 of 7. So that's a way to tell where you have layers turned on. And from there, I can go into Like, for example, one that causes a lot of trouble for folks is in this roads, trails, and rec folder. And then if I scroll down, it's this forest visitor maps layer. You can see once I turned that on, it looks kind of like an old school paper Forest Service map. So we hear from folks sometimes like, man, I can't see any aerial imagery. It's just a blank kind of topographic map. So that's one, you can scroll through and see which ones are turned on. Another thing you can do is just tap on the map. And that really is, it sounds simple. That's one of the best ways to learn more about an area or just what's going on your map. So if I'm wondering, hey, what's this green coloration? What is that? If I tap on the map, that's going to tell me that's Montana government lands. That's the layer I have turned on. And then it's going to tell me it's Lolo National Forest. If I scroll down, I can see I have other layers turned on, like the Montana hunting districts and the restricted areas. This is telling me this is in a recreation area, it's restricted, no discharge of firearms, air rifles, paintball guns. Not every layer is queryable like that, but quite a few of them are. So if you have a weird coloration, first thing I would do is tap on the map and see if there's something that jumps out to you there of, oh, that's government lands layer, or that's the CWD layer, or something like that. Then you can go into map layers if it's still not ringing a bell or not making sense. Go in there. I tapped wrong. There we go. And see, oh, I turned on one of the crop layers. Maybe that's giving me some weird coloration or something like that.
Yeah, Gary asked about creating a custom waypoint icon so that if you have a photo stored on that waypoint, you can see with a glance that there is a photo there. And I don't know how many people know this, but if you click on a waypoint on your mobile, you can store images or take a picture and store it with that waypoint. So I'll frequently do this if I find a scrape or something, or I want to just keep a photo record of a water source or whatever it is. I'll attach photos to my waypoints. And so, Gary, I do have on our engineering backlog right now a way. I don't think it'll be a custom waypoint icon necessarily, but working on a way so that we can identify that there is a photo stored with a waypoint today, because it is a little bit clunky to go in and figure out how to do that. So we are working on that, but that is not something we have right now. But stay tuned because that is one of the usability improvements that we do want to make. And then I guess still on the subject of waypoints, John asked about a reservation overlay for waypoints. And right now we don't have a reservation system on our waypoints. So you wouldn't be able to use it for that. Do you have a feature to share maps and waypoints and constantly update back and forth? If not, do you plan to update? So you can do this today, John. So you can do one of two things. Well, really three things. You can select an individual waypoint. When you do so, you will see the card pop up, and one of the options on that card will be share. So you can share that. Oh, it gets cut off on the bottom of the screen, right? Oh no, you pulled up the share. Okay. Yeah. So you can share an individual waypoint. If you click on the My Content uh, nav, you can select multiple waypoints at once and share all those. Or the third way is you can put all your waypoints or whatever you want to share, any sort of markups, lines, whatever, tracks in a folder, which you can share. And you can't update back and forth. There in onX now, the concept is the sharer owns the content. So as a sharee, you're not able to edit it or change it. Now we're working on updating that as well. so that you will see that change coming shortly. Um, but if the sharer changes anything, all of the sharees, if there's more than one, will also see that change. So it's constantly updated. If you are the sharer and you make changes, everyone that you've shared with will see those changes, but they just won't be able to change themselves. And like I said, that capability is coming shortly, later this year, should be before hunting season. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Um, so um, Jeff, can I share map coordinates directly with other onX members? And that'd be a easy thing, I think, for Jeff to demo on the map right there.
Yeah, so you can, like we just demonstrated, you can share a waypoint if you just
Mhm.
want to share that with somebody. You can also get the coordinates just by tapping on an area on the map. So I just tapped on that spot in that field, pulled up the query card at the, well, not at the top, but near the top, below where it says Missoula County High School District Number 1. You go down, it says coordinates. If I go all the way to the right, there's a button there that says copy. That is going to copy those coordinates, and then I can just paste them in a text message or an email or something to somebody else. I actually do this frequently with other people if I don't have a waypoint in an area and don't necessarily want one. I might just send them the coordinates and say, hey, you ever hunted this area? What's it look like? You ever see any deer there? Or I did this before. I'm tagged out on turkeys this spring, but I have buddies that are still hunting. I might say, copy some coordinates and send them to somebody. Say, hey, I saw a couple of hens walking in this field here, or something like that. Might be worth checking out this weekend for you, something like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just a simple copy and paste there, and you can send them to somebody else.
Christine asks, is there any way to stream your location with another user? We receive this request a lot. And I guess since I'm retiring, I can say stuff. You can't fire me. And Christine, pay attention to your app. We are actively uh, gonna do something about that specific problem. So I won't share any more details than that, but yes, this is definitely on our radar. Yes, this is in our engineering work stream to do. I don't have an exact date for you, but it will be coming. So yeah.
I'm even learning stuff today. That's awesome.
Yep. Jason, are there plans to add more colors and areas for waypoints? Not right now, Jason. Rel I don't remember the number off the top of my head. Relatively few of our customers actually change the color of waypoints, believe it or not. Um, right now, I can't remember how many different color options we have. It's maybe 10 or 12, something like that. Um, I had on the backlog for a long time, the ability to add essentially an infinite set of colors. You'll see like on your mobile, you'll see different companies, Apple or Google or whatever, have different ways of doing this, packs of crayons where you pick the crayon color you want, different things like that. Um, the uh, the average onX customer is not going to use all those colors. And so we've and it's going to make that card that Jack just had up on the screen. It's going to make that card much more complex. It's going to add a lot of space to it vertically, which on a mobile screen is really precious real estate. And so right now we don't. Always willing to reconsider, but right now we're gonna stick with those that we have. Um, and like I said, most customers don't even use any of those. So yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's a good. I'm happy that he asked that question because it means he's changing colors and
yep.
changing, icons and stuff. Like Jeff said, 9 times out of 10, when I'm face to face with a customer at a trade show or just I'm wearing an onX hat in the grocery store. I've had people, oh, you work for onX? Let me show you something. And most of the time, their map is full of those red X's like you see on my screen right now.
Mhm.
Nothing necessarily wrong with that. Myself personally, if I have a red X on my map and I don't know what that is, I delete it because it may have been marked this past hunting season and I don't remember what I was marking. Did I flush a grouse there? Did I have a deer rub? Did I park my truck there? Right? So if you're watching this and you haven't, you know, customize your waypoints, like I have a few there on the screen, go in there and give them names, write down descriptions in the notes, change the color, change the icon, do all that. It's just a way of kind of helping your future self. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it, and it
Yeah.
just lets you be more efficient the next time you're out in the field. You don't have to stop and wonder, what was I marking here? You can easily tell these are the parking areas, these are my tree stands, what have you.
John, I think you asked this question earlier about reservations would be a great feature for hunt clubs. Totally agree with you. Um, it is something that we've talked about before. Um, it's on one of our lists of things to potentially build, just hasn't been prioritized just yet. Um, but it is on the list, so just not being actively worked on right now. Um, Tom asks, can it interact with inReach? Depending upon what you mean by that, not directly with the inReach device, um, but if you have your inReach app on your phone that you use to communicate with your friends and family and whoever else you're communicating with, the uh, the copy coordinates view that Jack just demoed for everyone can also be used there. So you can copy those coordinates out of onX. You can paste them into your InReach app, and you can send that to whoever you want to send it to. Um, we do have an agreement with a company called Somewhere, who make a device very similar to InReach. With that device, we have a direct integration, and we're in the process of talking to some of the other satellite communicator suppliers as well. And so you may see additions for different devices coming soon, but probably not within reach. And so it'll be more of a manual process with them. So,
We're getting towards the end of the hour here. I dropped the giveaway link in the chat a few minutes ago. So if you want to get entered to win one of our new turkey t-shirts that we came out with this year, click on there. It'll take you to another web page. We just ask for your shipping address, your shirt size, so that we can get that mailed out. That is open for about another hour. So I'll draw those winners about 2 o'clock Mountain Time, which is we're located in Mountain Time here. And then I will send an email out to all the winners this afternoon. So you'll be alerted of that. We'll get the shirts ordered up. They'll probably get shipped out of our fulfillment center tomorrow sometime. You may even have it for the weekend. So I don't see any other questions in there. If anybody has any lingering, burning questions, drop them in there. Otherwise, I think we'll sign off for today and thank everybody again for joining us today. We'll do those. Vicky did have a question. It says only have states available in layers. Where are the other categories you showed in Rex's question? I'll do a quick demo here one more time. Let me pull that back up. So I'm assuming you're on a mobile device. If you're not, let me know, but I'll demo this on mobile. So those other layer categories or folders, Vicky, are, if I go in the lower left again, hunt map layers, pull that up. I have Montana is the only state I have turned on right now. And then below it is current conditions, land and access. They all are down there. So if you have a bunch of states turned on, if I just start turning on a bunch of them, you might only see states listed there in your menu. If you have 4, 5, 6, 7 of them turned on, I'm just with my finger, just dragging that menu and pulling it up there. That's where those folders live. If you are not seeing those at all, if it goes straight from, in this instance, goes from Montana down to where you can turn on states, that would certainly be a bug. I've never encountered that. I don't know how that would happen, but I suppose it's in the realm of possibility. If that's the case, Vicky, if there is no roads, trails, and land and access current conditions, that's a question best sent in via email to help@onxmaps.com. We'll have to do some digging into your account to see maybe you're on an old version or there's something else going on. So if they are truly missing there, please shoot us an email. That's something we'll want to check out and get corrected for you.
And Jack, while you're in there, I'll put in a plug for the latest layer that we just launched. So if you click on trees, crops, and soil, um, if you're a whitetail hunter or you do anything with managing your land, we did just launch this soil capability layer, which I'm not sure. Maybe go over to, I don't know, someplace where you might find a white-tailed deer. And so as you zoom in on the map, you're going to see these different soil layers that are represented. If you've used this information publicly before, you will maybe recognize these, but you can click on any spot on the map. We're going to give you the soil description. That symbol is an industry standard that's used to represent different soil types. And it's going to give you a bunch of information on specific soils with a link there, if you noticed it at the very bottom of the card, to click out to get some additional information. So we just launched this layer actually maybe yesterday, I think. So
Yep, I believe it was
um,
yesterday.
yep, quick little plug for this. Like I said, if you're a whitetail hunter or have some land that you're working on improving and you want to know uh, what the soil looks like on your property, or you're thinking about acquiring a property and you want to see what the soil is, how suitable it may be for different applications, you can certainly come in here and check this out. So that is brand spanking new.
And I don't own private land. I'm not really a land manager, but I find this stuff fascinating. I'm going to spend some time poking around in it. And honestly, I'm just going to look at, places I grew up hunting and some of the areas we hunt in the Midwest just to see what the different soils are. It's pretty interesting stuff, even if you're not worried about, which food plot to plant or something like that.
Yep.
So there was
All
a
right.
request to send the giveaway link one more time. I threw it in the chat there. So it should be, if you aren't able to open that, let us know. But otherwise, I think that will do us for today. There was a quick question by Rex. Do you send us notifications when there's an update? We do sometimes. It depends on what the update is. We typically update the app every 2 weeks. A lot of time, that's not anything that you will necessarily notice a big difference on your end. Those updates that you see in the App Store sometimes are performance improvements and stuff kind of in the background that just ensures the app is operating as it should. Sometimes it is new features. When we drop a new feature, a lot of times our social media, Facebook, Instagram, is a good spot to check those. And sometimes we do send out an email or a
Mhm.
push notification. Just kind of depends on the time of year and the feature itself that
Yep.
gets released.
Yep. Good question, Rex. Also something on the engineer's backlog to add a way to show a little marker or something else inside the app when there's something new for you to see, that we will be doing something about shortly as well. Um, How can you reach onX with questions? I think you shared the customer service email and phone number earlier, Jack. Might have to
Yep.
repost that.
Yep, I'm sending that to you, Bert, right now. It's help@onxmaps.com. That's our best way to reach us is via email there. So shoot us an email. You can also give us a call. I believe actually today a lot of our customer support is in Bozeman for kind of a larger, not all company meeting, but a lot of folks, they're in meetings. So phone support isn't available right now. It normally is. That number is area code 406-540-1600. You can also get that in our help center. You can also, I believe you can still just Google it and find it there. But typically email is a good way to go. Otherwise, phone call, give us a call and we'll help you out there.
Yeah,
All
they're
right,
all
we keep saying we're
sitting.
gonna sign
Yeah.
off. Steve had a question, soil must just be for elite members. It is an elite only feature. So good question there, Steve. We should have mentioned that earlier, that new soil layer is for elite folks.
Mhm. Yep.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. If you entered the giveaway, be sure to be on the lookout for an email from me. I'll send those winners an email tomorrow. And check out future classes. We're doing a deep dive on content management next week. We're doing a spring bear hunting one where we're giving away a Weatherby rifle and a Peak 44 tripod in the middle of May. I believe that's the 14th. And we'll keep updating those classes and keep rolling out. And if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, let us know and we'll see if we can do a class on it in the future. So once again, thanks everybody. Thank you, Jeff. I'm gonna miss having you on these,
Yeah.
but I'm sure I'll see you still. But
Oh, of course.
hope you enjoy your retirement.
I will continue to be an onX customer, which I've been since 2015. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
Thanks again, everybody. Have a good one.